Rain fell in slow, heavy sheets over the shattered colony city of Arvanine. The war had ended 2 months ago, but its wounds bled still, smoldering ruins, empty homes, and the haunted eyes of those who survived. Among them walked Taraya, a widow of the Kathur people, her silvery scales dulled with grime, her once proud crest drooping low. She had buried her mate beneath a collapsed sky bridge, and now scavenged for food among the wreckage. Her people had been proud warriors once, but now their cities were rubble, their fleets broken, and the humans, the victors, were rebuilding what they could. Some Kathur whispered that the humans were merciful. Others spat and said mercy was just another kind of control. Taraya didn't care. She just needed to eat. Her stomach clawed at her insides as she crouched beside a burned-out stall. A single loaf of bread, half soaked in rain, lay in the mud. She reached for it, only to hear a soft gasp. A little human girl, no more than 8, stood nearby holding a sack of vegetables. Her dark hair stuck to her cheeks in the rain, and her eyes were wide and green. "Miss," the girl said, her voice trembling, "you look hungry." Taraya froze. Her instincts told her to flee. Humans distrusted the Kathur, even now, but she was too weak. "Go home, little one," she rasped in broken Terran. "I will not harm." "I know," the girl said. She looked at Taraya's trembling hands, at the rain dripping from her torn cloak. Then she did something unexpected. She reached in her sack and pulled out a small loaf of bread, fresh and warm. "Here," she said. "You can have this." Taraya's breath caught. The smell, yeasty, rich, alive, nearly undid her. "Why?" she whispered. The girl smiled shyly. "Because my dad says we should always help someone who's sad." The next morning, Taraya found herself standing at the door of a small human homestead on the outskirts of the colony. The girl, Ellie, had insisted she come. "Dad won't mind," she'd said, pulling the alien woman through the mud. "He likes helping people." When the door opened, the man inside did not smile. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with the tired eyes of someone who had lost too much. His stubble was silvered at the chin, his clothes patched and worn. "Ellie," he said slowly. "Who's this?" "This is Miss Taraya," Ellie chirped. She was hungry. "Can she have dinner with us?" The man, Marcus Holt, a former engineer of the Earth Fleet, stared at the alien in silence for a long time. Taraya could see him assessing her. The faint battle scars on her face, the gaunt ribs beneath her cloak, the strange, soft glow of her eyes. "Come in," he said finally. "If you're trouble, I'll know it." Dinner was quiet at first. Ellie spoke enough for all of them, talking about her pet cat, the rain, and the new flowers growing near the ruins. Marcus mostly listened, occasionally glancing at Taraya. She ate slowly, almost reverently, as if each bite of stew might vanish if she moved too fast. When Marcus noticed her shaking hands, he ladled her a second portion without a word. "You were Kathur military," he said eventually. Taraya looked down. "Medic. My mate was pilot. Died in your bombing." Marcus nodded grimly. "I'm sorry." The words caught her off guard. No human had said that to her before. She studied him, the hard lines of his face softened only when Ellie laughed. "Your child is kind," she murmured. "She takes after her mother," Marcus said. His voice dropped. "She died before the war ended. Fever." For a moment, they sat in silence, bound by shared loss. Rain pattered against the roof, soft and steady. Then Ellie, smiling through her missing front tooth, said brightly, "Miss Taraya, you should marry my dad. Then you could eat warm meals every day." Taraya froze mid-bite. Marcus choked on his drink. "Ellie," he sputtered. "What?" "You said she's nice. And she's pretty too." Marcus groaned, but Taraya's laugh, low, musical, filled the room for the first time. "Your daughter speaks boldly," she said. eyes glinting. She gets that from me, Marcus admitted, a faint smile tugging his lips. Days turned into weeks. Taraya began helping around the farm, mending fences with her clawed hands, gathering rainwater, and using Kother bow healing techniques to help the struggling crops grow faster. In return, Marcus let her stay in the old shed out back. It was rough, cold, and drafty, but it was hers. Each night, Ellie would sneak in to bring her a blanket or share stories. One evening, as the sun set in twin bands of gold and violet, Taraya found Marcus fixing a broken solar panel. "You could use fusion gel," she said softly. "Kother used it to bind circuitry faster." He looked up. "You know how?" She nodded. "I repaired many ships. I could show you." They worked side by side, hands brushing occasionally. The silence between them grew less heavy, replaced by something quieter, something alive. When the lights flickered back to life, Marcus grinned. "You just saved me 3 days of work." Taraya tilted her head, her crest lifting slightly. "You smile rarely," she said. "Guess I forgot how," he replied. "But you remind me." Her throat tightened. She turned away, pretending to study the panel. One night, disaster struck. A group of scavengers, half-mad ex-mercenaries, came through the valley, stealing supplies from the homesteads. Marcus grabbed his old rifle, ready to defend what little he had. But when they broke through the door, it was Taraya who moved first. Her body glowed faintly under the moonlight, her scales flaring silver blue as she fought. Her people's instincts, honed through centuries of war, guided her. She disarmed one man with a flick of her tail, struck another with enough force to crack the wall. When the dust settled, 3 attackers lay unconscious outside. Marcus stood frozen, rifle lowered. "Remind me not to make you angry," he said hoarsely. Taraya's breathing slowed. "I protect what feeds me," she murmured, but when she looked toward Ellie, clutching a blanket by the stairs, her voice softened. "And who shows me kindness?" After that night, everything changed. The neighbors whispered about the alien widow living with a human man, but Marcus didn't care. He fixed her a proper room inside the house. Taraya protested at first. "Your people will not like this. Then they can build their own homes," Marcus said firmly. "You've earned this one." Ellie was overjoyed. She made Taraya tea with wildflowers and called her Annie now. But in the quiet hours, Taraya still watched the stars through the window, whispering in Kothiri to her lost mate. "Forgive me," she would say. "I did not mean to live again." The first snow of the year fell that winter, thick and white, blanketing the ruins beyond the valley. Taraya had never seen snow before. She stood outside, eyes wide, letting the flakes melt against her scales. Marcus joined her, holding 2 mugs of cocoa. "Beautiful, isn't it?" "It is peaceful," she said. "Your world heals fast." He smiled faintly. "So do you." She turned to him. "I'm still broken." He looked at her for a long moment, then said quietly, "Maybe we can be broken together." Her breath caught, and for the first time since the war, she didn't feel cold. That night, Ellie couldn't sleep. She tiptoed into their small living room, where the fire still crackled softly. Taraya and Marcus were sitting side by side on the couch, a blanket around their shoulders. The girl grinned. "See? I told you should marry my dad." Marcus chuckled, rubbing his neck. "Ellie, it's late." Taraya's eyes gleamed softly in the firelight. "Your daughter is persistent," she said with a teasing lilt. Ellie folded her arms. "Promise me you'll marry him when I grow up." Taraya smiled, truly smiled, and reached out to touch the girl's cheek. "Little one, I cannot promise your world's customs. But I promise this. I will never let your father face the cold alone again." Marcus's hand found hers. "That's good enough for me." Years later, the valley thrived again. Humans and Kother lived side by side, rebuilding what the war had broken. At the Holt homestead, laughter echoed from the kitchen. Ellie, now older, teasing her father while Taraya prepared dinner. The scent of stew filled the air. Outside, the twin suns dipped below the horizon. Taraya looked out the window, her crest glowing faintly with contentment. She no longer whispered apologies to the stars. Instead, she whispered thanks. Once, she had been a starving widow with nothing but grief. Now, she had warmth, laughter, and a home. And it had all begun because a little girl, brave and innocent, had looked at a hungry stranger and said the words that changed everything. "Marry my dad for a war meal."